Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
The Ides of March are nearly upon us, and you know what that means.
We must beware them.
I suppose. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just March 15th. Like, I don't know. What's so special about that, Ian? Tell me.
It's the day you need to eat a Caesar salad.
Oh, I get it. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
But And I also see that we have all these questions.
Yeah, the folks over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members, they just keep on sending them.
Yeah, they don't stop. I mean, you'd think by now we'd have answered every question ever asked ever in anyone, but no, there's still more. They still continue to flood our inboxes. So let's go ahead and jump on into them, not waste any more time. Start with this one from Mace. If Eggman and Wily teamed up with Cortex, Dr. Nefarious, and Professor Bugler from Bomberman, how well do they all get along, and how long is it before they all try to double-cross one another?
I feel like we've had a similar one to this, and I'm not really familiar with Cortex, Nefarious, or
Bugler.
I had to double-check that one.
I am not familiar. I'm very much not familiar with Dr. Bugler from Bomberman. I'm sorry. But I mean, I assume they would all get along as long as it takes for them to enact their plans of double crossing each other.
Yeah. I mean, I think Eggman and Wily taught us that them getting along is the most fun. And then because they are all egomaniacal, nasty individuals, I'm assuming for the other three.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
That it would devolve eventually. But
definitely Cortex.
You gotta have some time with them being buddies, because again, Eggman and Wily showed us that that's just great.
Yeah. And Dr. Nefarious is from Ratchet and Clank. And, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
He's literally called Nefarious. He's an evil mad scientist.
His name is Wily. I'm not judging.
Who's a robot. Partially robot, or totally robot. Is he a robot? I think so. Yeah, because he hates organic life forms, so that he must be like some kind of robot creature guy.
So maybe he wouldn't get along with folks.
I mean, Eggman, you might get along with Eggman. Eggman doesn't like that sort of thing either, even though he is technically one, I suppose. He doesn't like organic life.
That's the whole thing. Can Nefarious look past that? Can he work with a squishy meat bag for the sake of destroying other squishy meat bags?
Yeah. True. I don't know. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Mixer17 has a question. Another person from the future has also come back in time. Future Sonic! Why is he here? How did he get here? Nobody knows. Because they're too horrified or distracted by one specific physical feature of his, and it isn't the fact that he's wearing a wedding ring with a design indicating that he's married. Insert preferred Sonic ship here. Future Sonic has apparently gotten Uncle Chuck's capacity to grow a mustache and grown what at its most loving can only be described as the hate child of the egg stash and the Chuck stash, making his face look like something not even Amy could like as a friend. He's in complete denial about it, of course. Describe the horrified or mocking reactions of everyone you feel like.
Amy would try. She would do her level best. And just try to frame it as, help.
Does facial hair not do much for her?
Like, did you run into something on the way here? Is that a walkie that died? No, Rocky, excuse me. Walkie's the monkey. Did a Rocky die on your face? Are you okay? Is this a signal for help? We're here to support you. Tails, get the trimmers. Tails, he's gonna... I don't know if he can handle it. He may just crack up. This may be the breaking point between the two of them.
Oh, no.
He has seen the writing on the wall. He has to break away from Sonic now. Otherwise, good Lord, he'll have to pal around with that. And, he has a reputation to maintain.
You just had this one come up in the chat. It was so cute. She did, in fact, have to shave it. Thanks, chat.
Knuckles likes it. Thinks it's manly. Doesn't know what everybody else has a problem with. What are you talking about? And Eggman sees it as a direct challenge.
Are you asking for a challenge?
take my pride, take my conquests, take my machines, but you can't take his look.
What does Tangle think of it? She'd be like, yeah, that looks great.
She doesn't know why everyone's getting worked up. It's clearly a practical joke. He's going to pull the gotcha later, right?
He's
Any minute now.
He's going to rip it off, and it's going to be... He's not really from the future, right? He's just regular Sonic, right?
Why is everyone taking this so seriously? No, come on. It's obvious. It's obvious. Sonic, come on. It's obvious.
And then present Sonic shows up.
Hmm?
And then present Sonic shows up. They're standing next to each other, and she's like, what is this?
Look, gives him the up and down and goes, guess I missed a time stone because that's a bad future.
Oh, no. Oh, man. Oof. Big oof.
Metal Sonic's busy shoving his face into iron filaments. He will be the one true Sonic. He must have the stash too.
Yes. The manliest mustache of all. Oh, man. We got one here from Noni. In Mario and Sonic Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, there's an unused audio clip in the game that has the announcer calling for Xena, showing that she was planned as a playable character at some point. If Xena were to have been kept in the game, which event do either of you would have suited her best? If you can't settle on just one event, multiple work just fine.
I don't know. I would imagine she would be a rival character like Jet or who else was in there? You know what I mean? Not like a playable character, but like
wasn't
one who would show up, talk smack. Yeah, was she one? That's so
she
weird.
wouldn't. I know she had like only one event or whatever, wasn't it? Like she had a special, specific event at least. I don't know if she was playable or not. Oh, so she was playable in 2020. Okay, I might be thinking of a different game.
So I imagine it would be something like that. And given what little direction I have with her, I would imagine it would possibly be something to do with speed or gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, something where she's, light on her feet. Maybe she does like, what's the event where you're flopping around the big square with a ribbon? Interpretive dance? What is it called?
I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about. The gymnastic thing.
I do know what you mean. Ribbon dance, yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. That's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got those kind of electro tethers in her boss fight. Maybe that would be the parallel. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, works for me. Here's a question from Anonymous. Hi, Ian. It's a beautiful day in the Bumble Cave. However, you quickly discover that you somehow landed in another universe where there's no such thing as a Sonic the Hedgehog. Instead, it seems that it has always been the Surge the Tenrec games and franchise. Kyle informs you that BumbleKast Live starts in 1 hour. How do you prepare?
I'm just going to kind of chill out and wait for the bomb to drop.
What bomb?
You click on the live show and you're like, we're here. And I'm like, all right. So instead of our regularly scheduled program, Kyle, we have scenario 87B on our plates. And you're like, what? I'm like, 87B. Or is it 87A here? And you're like, 87A, you're from another dimension. I'm like, I told you this would happen. Like, I thought you were crazy, but it actually happened. And I'm like, yep, only we call it 87B where I'm from. And you're like, that's so weird. I'm like, anyway, we're off track. And we just spend the rest of the show talking about how our dimensions are different.
I mean, yeah, we'll go with that. The sacred BumbleKast timeline. It has become unsacred. I'm ready for it. Are you and Ian from another dimension?
I don't know. Is it Berenstain or Berenstein?
It's Berenstain. It's always been.
No, I'm from this one.
Okay, good. It's always been Berenstain. It's time for Plan B. Are you he who remains, Ian? I should have known.
Remains, not that I'm he who hasn't moved yet.
He who naps. Of the Stars has a question. You got any tips about moving out on your own? Like, I'm currently 21 and don't know if I need to move out or not. I live with my parents and they are very loving and supportive, and despite some friction, but I just have this nagging feeling sometimes that I need to go out as soon as possible. Granted, I know this is just a show where some grandpa talks about how he wrote for Mr. Needlemouse or whatever, while his cooler assistant Kyle actually runs the show. Okay, I'm not that cool. But but I'd just like to hear some advice from you guys on what I should do when that inevitable day of moving out comes, if you can. Thank you in advance, and thank you so much for bringing joy to all your viewers, including me.
Well, Sonny.
Back in my day.
I mean, this is very broad advice because I don't know you. I don't know your family situation. I don't know what town you're in, what the economic policy setting is, what your aspirations are. Do you want to move far away? Do you want to move just down the street? You know, all that jazz. But right now, in the general North American climate, I would say if you can stick around, do. I mean, chip in. You know, you are an adult living in the same household with your parents, so, you know, work out some kind of rent figure, split the bills, something. You know, carry your own weight. You are a contributing member to the household.
Yeah.
If you're independent enough to move out, then you're independent enough to support as well. And from the way you phrased it, it sounds like that might be an option. I mean, maybe they want you to get out so they can just finally be themselves again. Parents out there, I know you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's also really tough to get a place of your own that is remotely affordable these days. Never mind all of the complications. So if that works for you guys, if that works in your particular family, right now I would recommend, you know, staying where you are, building up a nest egg if you can, supporting them and the general household as another contributing member, and figure out what your next step is. Like, don't rush out the door because, you know, you are a man, you must stake your claim. That might have been true 30, 40 years ago, 50, not so much these days. If you are in a comfortable position, I'm always more cautionary with my approach to stuff. Maybe you're bolder. Maybe you want to strike out on your own. And, you know, if you've got a plan, if you have the resources and you want to do it, by all means, you do you. But if there's no immediate pressing obligation, I'd say stick with the port you got.
I'm with you. I really don't have anything else to add to this. I mean, that's really it, honestly. There's really, if you don't have a reason to move out other than you want to move out, then you don't have to. But if you want to, and if you're in a decent position to do so, then, you know, give it a shot. See how it goes. But if not, there's really no reason why you shouldn't stick around unless your parents are like, no, get out.
Like, personally speaking, I moved out shortly after university. That was 20-ish years ago. Mm-hmm. But I was in a very good position to do so. I didn't move too terribly far away. I was able to take advantage of the market at the time. This was before things completely fell to crap. So I had a bit of an in there, and I had a very supportive family who, you know, had a lot of inroads for me to help me out.
Yeah.
I had all the stars were aligning for me. So it was an indulgence that I could afford to pursue. And because I went that route, it set things up for me down the line that helped out. But that was very contingent on that time period. 5 years, if that had happened 5 years later, I wouldn't have been able to do that.
No.
That's all there's to it. So
yeah,
there's a lot of factors to take into consideration. You know, what does your job opportunity look like? What job prospects? What is your personal financials? What does your transportation look like? What is your personal network? How far are you looking to move away? What is the local housing economy? What is the local business economy like? What is your family situation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? There's a lot to factor in, and it can be overwhelming. So again, if you have the opportunity to stay where you are comfortably, take your time to figure this all out.
Yeah. All right, here's one from Omega King 99. Godzilla fans are feasting like kings. Between the two new films, the comics also continue to impress, with Godzilla rampaging the multiverse and fighting both the Justice League and even the Power Rangers twice. I thought I'd come around with another Sonic/Godzilla question for Ian. If you had the chance for a crossover comic, how would you approach it? And ignoring the always restrictive rulings. Would it be a multiversal event or go the route of the old Marvel comics and find a way to make a Godzilla who exists within the Sonic world? And could Godzilla find a way to transform with the Chaos Emeralds? He's already pink now, so how about gold, too? We need a Super Godzilla, obviously.
I mean, that's what you would do for the finale, yes, but I don't know. Like, are we talking a single special issue? Are we talking a mini-series, maxi-series? And I know you said no restrictions, but let's be honest. Toho is kind of notorious for how protective they are.
Yeah.
Of the material. So, how much leniency do they have here? Which era of Godzilla can we pull from? What kaiju are even available to us? That would all inform a lot of it. And beyond that, I'm kind of spoiled for choice because, I mean, come on. Sonic fights kaiju all the time and it's glorious. So it really just needs to be fan service cover to cover.
Really?
For Sonic and Godzilla fans. I guess generally I would prefer it to be free of any kind of continuity. Like follow the rules of like modern Sonic and whatever Toho is going to say, so that you have some grounding, some basis, something that's recognizable. But I wouldn't want to try to fit it into like the actual continuity of anything specifically, because I think that kind of boxes you in. You can't have as much fun because you got to worry about repercussions. Just have it and some version of Sonic, some version of Godzilla. You can blow up cities and tear up continents and travel dimensions and whatever, and just have fun with it. Really, that's the crux of it. Have fun with it.
Absolutely. I would love that. Please let Ian cook. Let's make the Frontiers Kaiju and Godzilla fight. Let's have Supersonic versus King Ghidorah. Dude. That would be freaking sick.
We modernize Mighty just so Angirius can job.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Angirius, but come on.
Ow.
If somebody's going to job to Mighty, it's going to be you.
Yes. Giganto versus Shin Godzilla. Shit. Giganto doesn't stand a chance. Iblis versus Godzilla. That would be sweet. Oh, man. All right. Pit Viper has a question. Dear Mr. Flynn, are you familiar with the Marvel method of writing? If so, have you ever wrote a script using this technique?
I am passingly familiar with the concept. I have never worked in that fashion myself. I guess I'm too much of a control freak. If I have a story to tell, I have the vision. I know how I want it to go. And so I'm going to stipulate it. And when working on other people's properties, I know how hard the art team works, so I want to take as much pressure off of them as I can. So, giving them page by page, panel by panel, beat by beat details, they don't have to work quite as hard to come up with the layouts and everything. They can kind of follow along. When I don't go crazy and ask for some like 9-panel action sequence and they're like, Ian, how does this work? And I go, you can interpret it how you want.
Yeah.
It's a little softer with Drogoon because, Adam is doing so much for it. He has a greater degree of artistic license, I guess. But again, Drogoon is my baby. I have the vision. So I am still very clear in what I'm expecting from it. So,
yeah.
For those who don't know, the Marvel method is more, I'm not saying more cooperative because comics are a cooperative art form anyway, but where normally I script things as, page 1, panel 1 is this size, this setting with these characters doing this, saying this, panel 2, etc., etc., etc. The Marvel method would be, in this issue, here are the major plot points, and here's what happens to these particular characters. And then the artist goes nuts with it. They do what they want. They pace it out. They add, subtract what they see fit. And then it goes back to the writer to add the dialogue. which is a fascinating way of doing things. I just don't know if that would work for me specifically. It depends on the project.
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit more of a, I suppose, freeform, back and forth sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess it just depends on how much of a control freak you are about your script, huh? Yep. That's fine.
I prefer meticulous.
Well,
Detail-oriented.
Tomato. Professor Scruffy Matt has a question. Back in December, you discussed some of the Sonic games you'd like to see remade and how you'd like them to be changed and updated. I'd like to ask the same question, but for 3 forgotten games that have never seen a port or re-release. Sega Sonic Arcade, Knuckles Chaotix, and Sonic Shuffle. Go nuts.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to see a proper port of them.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Archival purposes.
A good re-release in the Sega Ages style, with the Switch re-releases, where it's like, yes, this is as good as you can get via emulation. Yes, let's do that.
Beyond that, let's see. Shuffle, I don't think really needs that much of an upgrade. From my understanding, it's just the computer cheats.
Yeah.
So it just needs a little tinkering with the AI and, maybe boost up the roster of playable characters, maybe add a couple more game boards. But otherwise, from my understanding, it doesn't need too much fixing.
The only thing about it is that it relied on the fact that VMUs were in the controller and had a built-in screen, so each individual player could see their cards without everyone else also being able to see what they are. So that's a harder thing to deal with nowadays.
Yeah, unless you manage to sync it with some kind of app on your smartphone.
That would be the only way, but I don't think they would want to require that.
Yeah. I mean, then it would be exclusively online play, and I don't know.
No, it wouldn't necessarily have to be online. It would just have to be, have at least a local network. But yeah, it would be, I don't know. The multiplayer would be tough. You'd have to figure something out. I know that the thing does have a way, the game does have a way of showing cards if you don't have a VMU in every controller, but it's kind of, it's a janky system. It's not a great system.
Yeah. For Chaotix,
let's just do a port, Mania style, improved port, or a Christian Whitehead head cannon version.
Maybe. I mean, part of the thing with Chaotix is it was built around its very special momentum mechanic.
Yeah.
And all the stages were built very vertically with that in mind.
Yep.
And I feel like if you do something more traditional and like Mania, you lose some of what's special about Chaotix.
No. I mean, keep the level design and everything the same. Just change the presentation and improve the fidelity. Just put it in widescreen and...
I mean, the controller setup, I think you could be more robust with it. If you have the hold and release buttons on like the triggers and then a dedicated jump button, that would be a little easier. Maybe a way to fill out the playable roster so you're not playing the crane game every time you want to switch it up. Vary up the different acts more visually as well. Either like knock it down to 3 apiece or make 1 through 5 just very visually distinctive, and that you are making clear progression, because a lot of them just really run together.
Yeah, and don't make it a roulette as far as what level you go to next and stuff like that. Make it a bit more. I think it should be a bit more streamlined and refined in a way.
I'm 50-50 on that, because part of the fun is the timing, trying to get the stage that you want specifically, and it is a great foreshadowing for the Metal Sonic fight. I
mean, yeah, that's true. But
like the level select trains you on how to fight the final boss. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's kind of neat, but it's like I don't know.
And for Sega Sonic, ground up remake as a Time Attack Muso.
Okay.
You have to get through like hazard rooms and enemy rooms within a certain amount of time, or the room locks out and you are recaptured.
All right. Yeah. that could actually work. That's pretty good.
Break it up with the story mode so that you don't lose total progress necessarily, and then have an arcade mode where it's just as fast as you can go, as far as you can get.
You want to do an isometric Muso?
No. Make it like a full-on regular Muso.
Oh.
3D, but, if you've got two other buddies to play with you, then, on the one hand, it's more hazard because that's more people that are getting potentially hurt and dragged behind. But you've got 3 people tearing through the robots or breaking down the barriers, and that can lead to some wonderfully chaotic co-op play.
Yeah. Oh, that would be very different from the original. It'd be fun, though. That'd be cool. All right. And our next question, Rabbit Haver. Hi, boys. Was talking about this with your nemesis Pedanticat and wanted to know your thoughts. In a fight to the death between Silver and Lapis from Steven Universe, who would win? Silver held back Chaos in the Forces prequel comic, so what would this fight even look like? Lapis. That's what I said. Lapis.
Lapis lazuli.
Lapis? Lapis? Is it lapis?
Yes.
It's not lapis, like the pencil?
No, that's Spanish.
Like Spanish for pencil? No?
No, it's lapis lazuli, the mineral.
Yeah, if you want me, I mean, listen. I've never... If you want any proof, I've never seen Steven Universe.
I think it would really depend on how much water Lapis has available to her. If we're talking just kind of her standard kit, Silver's probably going to be able to overpower her because as formidable as her hydrokinesis is, there are limits. But if she's like by a lake or even worse, the open ocean, I think she'd be able to overpower Silver. I think this comes down to environment. Sorry,
everyone's just... I'm distracted by the chat because everyone's making fun of me for the way I said it. Look! I have nothing. I got nothing. Anyway, Reckons has a question. Through convoluted means, aliens are now poised to blow up the planet. Also, somehow, the only way to stop them is through the power of dance. And also, somehow, the only one available to stop them is Shadow. No one else can get there in time. Will Shadow dance to save the world?
Of course.
I was gonna say, it wouldn't be the first time he's danced. Like, he's gotta show up Sonic somehow.
He's the ultimate life form. The world is safe.
That means he's the ultimate dancer. Isn't there one where doesn't he do like the same sort of move Sonic does, where he does like breakdancing moves and stuff? Or am I like hallucinating that?
Recall?
Huh?
Not that I can immediately recall.
Not at like the end of a Zone act or anything? Like when I don't know. Maybe I'm just hallucinating. Maybe I'm thinking of GIFs on the internet and not of actual games anymore. Maybe the memes have replaced all my memories of the games. Probably not unlikely. Relax, Toadie has a question. Might be a hot take, but I genuinely miss human characters in the Sonic franchise. How do you both feel about them?
They're there.
Depends.
Like, when Adventure came out, I was starkly opposed. What are these normal humans doing in my fantasy animal world? No, don't like it.
But then Eggman's been there the whole time.
Eggman's not a normal human. He's an Eggman. He's a goofy, round Mickey Mouse pants wearing son. And then they doubled down on it, and it's like, well, I guess they're not going away. Unleashed did the most heavy lifting, getting me comfortable with the idea of humans in Sonic's world, because the Goody Hoodie designs looked like they fit Sonic. It's like, okay, now I'm on board. These people look like they exist in Sonic's world.
Were you not on board for Witch Card? As vaguely human as she is. She's more witch than human.
The two sprites of her animation. And at this point, they are well established within the lore.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They're around somewhere.
Yeah.
So it has been a while since we've seen them. If there's a good reason to see them again, I'm not opposed to it. It's just, why? What are we doing with them? What do they bring to the narrative? And if it's a good thing, then huzzah.
I mean, I'm fine with humans as long as they're not Chris Thorndork. Then it's all good. Here's one from Rockamillion. Ian, I appreciate what you said when I discussed Tails and Speedy. Plus, I was wrong about Tails beating Speedy twice in Tails' Adventure. My apologies. However, I feel like you ignored something I said. You never explained why Tails can go toe-to-toe with Sonic and Mecha Sally, but not Speedy. Also, Tails should have still defeated Speedy at some point. I like Tails beating the Mole Mech, but there should be another fight between Tails and Speedy somewhere down the line. No mech, just the two of them on equal footing. Tails wins, fully overcoming his rival just like Sonic did with Knuckles and Shadow. Kyle, me saying ignore Tails using gadgets in Tails' Adventure was mainly a joke. The joke is I'm contradicting myself. Well, you were. To reiterate, I don't want Tails to stop using gadgets altogether. I just want to see him to be able to rely on his fighting skill to an extent. I know he can't outshine Sonic, but I'd love for it to be shown that Tails has made progress, and he's getting there.
I don't know if I can give you the answer you want, to be perfectly honest. He didn't end up beating Speedy because that storyline evaporated. We couldn't follow up on it. We never got to build off of what was established.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember every beat for beat of the Tails Adventure arc. I don't remember how he and Speedy parted ways, but if he didn't outright beat him, then the intention would have been that's the lingering conflict to follow up on, because that's where you want to go. You don't want to resolve everything in a single story arc.
No.
And I can't go beat for every confrontation Tails has been in. Like, if you're talking the House of Cards fight, the reason he went toe-to-toe with Sonic is Sonic is holding back. If Sonic wanted to hurt Tails, he would be hurt. They were having a scuffle, and yeah, Tails was mad, and he certainly wasn't pulling his punches, but Sonic was, because he cares. And Mecha Sally, I don't remember how any of those fights particularly went, so I can't give you a full power scaling management for it. You want Tails to beat somebody up. I get it. Maybe he'll do that someday. I can't guarantee it.
All right, here's one from Scourge Time. Scourge is on the internet. There's a lot of fan art and fanfics of Scourge. How would Scourge react to seeing the things his fans have made? The safe and the 18-plus ones. Would he enjoy it no matter what, or would he spill his favorite drink all over his PC?
He'd love it. People creating tributes to him, creating epic legends about him, showing a side of him that he wishes he had. He'd love it.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any like fan material that highlights him failing or are focused on humiliating him, and this is the internet, I'm sure it exists. There he would try to figure out how to track people down by their IP. But otherwise, stuff showing him triumphant or reveling in his evil and how cool he is and yada, yada, yada. Oh, he'd eat it up.
All of it.
He is exactly the type of person to abuse the fact he has a fan base.
Including the Sonic Scourge ship stuff? Would he be on board for that even?
I mean, people like highlighting that one panel from the early books where Evil Sonic's got that Sonic plus Sonic and a heart on the table.
True. You
always hurt the one you love, and you hurt Sonic a lot.
If you can't love yourself, who can you love?
What is egotism if not self-love?
It's true. Oh, man, I forgot about that. That's amazing.
See, I'm pretty sure the joke was just supposed to be that he loves himself, hence the egotism. But
yes, but it's funnier the other way.
Ships have been launched on less, so I ain't gonna fight it. It is what it is.
Pretty much. Scurvy Pirate Dog has a question. Things didn't go so well for Starline when Eggman decided to break up with his ex-employee, but what do you do to get back at the ex-boss? You make them jealous. So what if Starline decides to work for Mr. Dr. Eggman in order to attempt to make his ex-boss, Prime Eggman, jealous? How does it go?
Poorly.
Yeah.
Like, Mr. Dr. Eggman is, of all the Chaos Council, the closest to Prime, but he ain't quite there. And Starline would realize that very early on, but he's going to double down on it because this is his plan. It's going to work. Until finally, Prime Eggman gives him a call. Meet me for coffee. And he's going to take me back. Ha ha ha. Starline, what are you doing with yourself? This is pathetic, even for you. I thought you had standards.
What?
Does this at least mean you're worried for me? Sage told me I should look in on you.
Wow.
Look, all I'm doing is buying you this coffee and telling you to think about things. Go home. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, is this really what you want?
Speaking of launching ships. Here's what you do. This is you doing it.
I'm just riffing on a fun idea. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, of course not. Nope. All right, we got one last question before I take a break. It's from Sonic is Awesome. Let's say the unthinkable happens and a villain manages to kill Tails while Sonic is there to witness it. Would this break him and make him willing to kill whoever did? Why does everybody want to kill Tails lately?
It's more that they want Sonic to
I think they want
abandon his morals and go super edgy. I'm going to kill whoever killed Tails. Because that's the shortest route to that cliche.
Or they just want Sonic to suffer like Shadow does. It's like, we don't need Sonic to suffer like Shadow does. We already have Shadow.
No, Sonic would not. We're not entertaining that notion of angst. I refuse.
Oh, man. Well, all right. Since we're not killing off Tails, we might as well kill this half of the show. And then come back with...
We still have another half to go?
Yeah.
How many questions are...
We're back, and we got a lot of questions, starting with this one from Sonic Sword Fighter. Is the Metal Sonic in the Rivals games the same as in previous games, somehow taken from wherever he ended up after Heroes and reprogrammed by Eggman Nega? Or is it a new Metal Sonic made by Eggman Nega, modeled after the original?
I'd have to go back and review those, but I'm pretty sure it's the same Metal Sonic as always. I think there's only the one. At least in Rivals 2, it's the same one, because Eggman purposely sends him out to work with Shadow to thwart Nega. Now, if you mean Metal Sonic 3.0, the sick gold and black one, I think that's just a fresh model by itself.
Yeah, that's apparently a Nega creation. So, yeah. Spoiler 1001 has a question. If Vanilla were to have a past regarding being an agent of Gun or having something she has since moved past, would Rouge be aware of it, or would Vanilla's connections be above Rouge's clearance level?
All depends on what that story is. Like, this is straight up fanfic at this point.
Vanilla, agent of Gun. Make it happen, Ian. Do it.
You can literally go in any direction with this. So, fanfic writers, to the races. Have fun with it.
Vanilla. She's the Sonic universe equivalent of Agent Coulson. Here's a question from Steph Cube. I thought I saw on X's social network that some people harshly criticized you for that photo frame joke in which Sonic put a funny photo instead of Amy's. If that's true, then I'm very sorry, and I want to tell you that many other people enjoyed that joke, including me. In fact, I wish there were more jokes like that in the future. It reminds me a little of how things were back in the 2000s, which was the time when I fell in love with the Sonic franchise. And honestly, it's not like Sonic and the others weren't in character while that was happening. I just want to let you know this, and that I'm sorry if they harassed you a lot.
Thank you for the support. Now, Tales Tube is not exclusively written by me. There are others involved in the process. And on the one hand, I didn't write that particular joke. That came from somewhere else. But I don't really want to bring that up, on the other hand, because one, I don't want to pass the buck or sound like I'm deflecting. Oh no, people didn't like a thing. That wasn't me.
People already think you do that by blaming Sega on all of your writing mistakes.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But as Steph Cube has pointed out, people enjoyed the joke. They got the joke.
Yeah.
It was not slanderous to Amy. It was a thoughtless little bit of silliness on Sonic's part.
It was a goofy gag for Sonic, who's kind of a dummy.
So if you enjoyed it, I'm glad. If you didn't, I'm sorry. In this particular instance, I cannot claim the blame or the credit. And just know that, I am not the Sonic guy. I am a Sonic guy.
All right, here's one from Stephen A. Who's the Batman villain you feel has the most potential but just doesn't get love? No, Ian, you can't use Condiment King.
Suck all the joy out of the room, why don't you?
What's the point of this question? We can't say Condiment King.
Who else can relish his victory over the Batman? Who else can muster the courage to face the Cape Crusader? Huh? He'll never catch up with me.
Boo.
Gosh, it's been a while. I do remember being disappointed that what they did with Riddler after a point, because I liked him becoming a sort of quasi anti-hero where he dropped the villainy, but he was still a know-it-all jerk. So he was thwarting the bad guys, but not for any kind of really virtuous means. It was always to prove himself the smartest. And I thought that was kind of a nice evolution of the character. That's kind of fun. That's kind of neat.
They kind of make him like a Joker light nowadays.
Yeah,
like,
I really don't like that. It's
no,
he's fun. He's one of my favorite characters, especially if we're talking the animated series design.
Yeah,
with the bowler hat and the suit. That love that look.
Mm-hmm.
I love the smarminess to it, and because so much of Batman has gotten so violently grimdark, having him go, independent PI was kind of a fun way to stop him from doing that. And then I saw some panel somewhere where he's threatening to like murder a Robin every time Batman gets in his way. It's like, no thanks. That's not the Riddler I want. And I don't know what you would do with him, but I like Man-Bat.
Yeah.
I like my big snarly Man-Bat. He's Batman but reversed, and thus Man-Bat, and it's dumb, and I love it. It's a werewolf version of Batman. I don't know how you make that interesting outside of the core premise, but it's neat. I like it. He made funny noises in the cartoon show.
Is Snowflame a Batman villain? Is he Batman villain enough?
I don't know if he's Batman specific.
I don't know. I like him. He's so stupid. I'm glad he made his appearance in the Harley Quinn show at least. So bring him back for real. Bring back Snowflame. Give him the respect he deserves, which is not very much.
And there's part of me that's tempted to like go back to some of the samey villains who lost out, like the Quizzler, or what was the guy who was like half black, half white, and he basically got forgotten because of Two-Face.
I don't know, because he must Zebra Man is what I'm being told.
Yeah,
or okay. Equinox.
No, Equinox was somebody different.
Okay,
he was a different dude. Grab one of them and kind of see what you can do to update them in a way that makes them stand out.
What about good old Calendar Man?
See, I feel like the Arkham games nailed Calendar Man.
Yeah.
Like that kind of creepy, the creepy removed essence to him is what made it so effective. I think if you actively see him, it's not nearly as effective.
Yeah.
Having it seen after the fact to make all of his crimes dated, if you will, gives him a power that I don't think he has otherwise.
Yeah.
Although I thought the revamp of the concept with Calendar Girl in the animated series was also really compelling. That was neat too. So
I don't think I've gotten that far.
Oh,
in my rewatch, of it, my watch through of it, I should say, because I don't think I saw that episode or anything when I was a kid. So because I don't remember Calendar Man at all. People in the chat are bringing up Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter's been used a fair bit.
Yeah.
He's gone in various directions from here's the goofy one to, oh God, he's not safe, stranger danger.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's seen his share of stuff, and I'm honestly kind of tired of people pulling from the Alice in Wonderland well.
Mm-hmm.
We get it. It's public domain. We're done. It's tired.
Yeah.
Although maybe it's a good idea to just retire him and then do a whole gang themed around Alice in Wonderland. Why not? She's the mastermind, and she has like the Tin Men and the Scarecrow.
Well, that's
Scarecrow's working for her now.
You're thinking of Alice from the Batwoman villain.
Oh, there already is one of those. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
My highly original idea. How dare they?
Yeah. Her Batwoman's sister, Alice. Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, that's what the Batwoman show mostly focused on, was their relationship, and I thought I honestly really enjoyed that show. So, and there's the Wonderland gang. She's the leader of the Wonderland gang. So everyone in that gang wears masks inspired by different members of the Wonderland crew.
I said the wrong thing. I meant Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
Dorothy's the ringleader. Recruits.
Oh, okay.
Had some kind of Tin Man and Cowardly Lion. I'm sure that's also been done somewhere. I'm just throwing out nonsense.
Maybe.
And if that's been taken, fine. Wind in the Willows, okay? Gang of people wearing animal masks. Or maybe they're all chimeras. There's your reason for Man-Bat. He leads the Wind in the Willows gang.
Well, there you go. All right, here's Superhero Pizza with a question. In the previous BumbleKast, I asked Ian what would happen if he was summoned into Sonic's world as an eldritch deity, Ian the Fate Weaver. Continuing off of that, Eggman's legs have been successfully spaghettified, and Ian now has control over the entire Eggman empire. As great as all this is, existing in a lower fictional reality has caused Ian to become a bit crazy, and now he's on a war campaign trying to conquer Sonic's world. With Eggman's resources and your Fate Weaver powers, how far do you think you'd get? Would you succeed, or would this inevitably end with another good old-fashioned supersonic fanny whooping?
Nah, I'd win.
You truly know everything Sonic's going to do. Strange, isn't it?
I mean, Eggman wants to win. I just want to win. So, set up the prison capsule. It's like, oh no, look at all the poor trapped animals. And Sonic hits the plunger, and oops, that detonated the 40 megaton nuclear warhead.
Oh, shucks.
Boom, you're done.
Aw, shucks. Here's one from Supersonic Fan. What if Ruff and Tumble met Sleet and Dingo?
They'd fight.
Oh,
That'd
yeah.
be funny.
Of course they'd fight. But who would win? Nobody, I'm assuming.
Honestly, not sure, because Dingo's metamorphic abilities kind of make up for Sleet lacking anything. I do imagine Dingo would want them to adopt some kind of rhyming introduction, though.
Oh, yeah, probably. But who goes first, Sleet or Dingo? That's what they would have to argue.
And that's how Ruff and Tumble catch them on their rebound attack and see them arguing over it. And they go, these guys are hopeless. And they come in and they coach them on, look, the 2-syllable one, that really carries the cadence. So you need to start with Sleet. It's not a matter of star power. It's just how the meter works. Like, here, let me show you. And then they end up helping them with their introductory rhyme, and they all become friends.
There you go.
Now all 4 of them are working together.
And now they all have a 4-part rhyming intro.
It takes a solid 5 minutes before they do anything.
Yeah, but it's entertaining up until then. Switchell has a question. Sega decides to do a plot they've never done before in a Sonic game. A time travel story featuring classic Sonic and modern Sonic.
My God.
Wow. Sega, committed to the story being authentic, uses time travel to bring classic Ian from early Archie days to the present to collab with modern Ian on the story. You've mentioned a few times in the past how much your values as a writer and your work environment has changed over the years. So how do you think this would realistically go?
First off, I'm going to sit him down and tell him to get his act together.
And he ain't going to listen.
He is not. And I might just have to beat it into him because I know that'll work. Like, look, buddy, I am paying for 20 years of you not getting your shit together. You're going to straighten up right here, right now.
He's going to run from you. He's going to take off.
Yeah, well, we'll both run out of breath about the same time. And whose fault is that, Flynn?
Flynn on Flynn violence.
You hate to see it, but
I don't know. Some people want to see you beat yourself.
let's even put their money where their mouth is. I'll do a charity fight against myself. I'll go 10 rounds with myself in the ring as long as we're a worthy cause. Why not?
Sure.
But yeah, the boss is saying, aren't you supposed to be writing something? I'm like, hold on. This man needs to learn how to eat green things. Listen to me.
Oh,
also,
no.
This is what you're going to invest in now, and this is where you're going to sell. Okay.
And then you yourself, you won't listen, obviously, because why would you listen to yourself? Future you is stupid, has no idea what they're talking about.
Younger me would be divided because he knows that this is the exact scenario we want.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it can't be that bad. Or, he'll get it under control. I mean, he's learned his lesson now, hasn't he? Sure. It's not like he's got, to do it immediately. He's got 20 years before things fall out. It'll be fine. He's going to take it at his own pace. And that's when 60-year-old Ian comes in and knocks us both unconscious. You idiots! One show once and you didn't make it work.
Future Ian comes in and, yep. It's all over.
They're like, whoa, you got the cool robot eye from the future. And that's when the 80-year-old Ian comes in and says, that robot eye was a fad and you knew it. You're wasting money, you idiot.
Here comes 80-year-old Ian with the steel chair.
I'm using it as a walker, but it's technically a steel chair.
Wow, so many Ians. Send them all back. We only need one. Into the Ian verse.
Only if I get a totally badass British punk rocker version of me. It'll be worth it.
That'd be sweet. All right, System 509 has a question. On the show Red Dwarf, there was a being called the Inquisitor who would take people to a pocket dimension and make them justify their own existence to a perfect copy of themselves, which was the only way to ensure a fair judgment. It didn't matter if they were good or evil, more so whether they made the most of their lives. So how would Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Eggman justify their own lives to the Inquisitor?
Oh, they'd be fine.
Yeah.
Like, Tails might have to make a case for himself because he has so much self-doubt, but he'd come around to all that he has grown and all that he can do potentially. Amy might have a momentary pause of how she wished she got started sooner, but she's doing so much now and she's not going to stop because she knows that she can do so much more for everyone. But like Knuckles is like, I'm good at my job.
Yep.
We'll fight about it. And then the Inquisitor versions of Sonic and Eggman are like, we're wasting our time. You're awesome. And baseline Sonic and Eggman are like, I know, right? And they go out and get Tims together.
Nice. All right, the Oddly Roger has a question. The Freedom Fighters are facing off against a legion of roboticized Rabbids invading Knothole. How awful is it for everyone?
No, it's really awful for me after I Rabbids.
It's really awful for the reader, for the writer. Yeah.
Unless the only way to humanely free the Rabbids is to destroy them.
Yeah.
With undue violence. Unrepentant, glorious, indulgent violence. And Omega is the star of the crossover. Oh, wait, this is lovely. Now entering target-rich environment. Everybody say, ah, ah.
Here's one from Tick Tick. Do you see an issue with IDW taking place before the last major title of the series, despite the ever-widening gap between release? What issues might you see in IDW being more in the present of the franchise, and do you feel that the constant jumping around in time in game releases is detrimental or beneficial to those who want to follow the lore? What I mean by this is that if you look at IDW as the baseline, all the major releases take place all over the place. Colors, Origins, Superstars, and soon Sonato happen all before it, while Tales Tube 3 through 6, Frontiers, and Murder and Murder of all happen after IDW. Remember, Tales Tube 3 leads right into Convergence, so all the other ones after it should happen after Frontiers, right? And good luck figuring out what the deal with Prime is. It just seems like IDW is perpetually going to be playing catch-up, filling in the gaps between Forces and Frontiers, or between Murder of and whatever the next thing is, instead of progressing the story and world.
No.
All right.
You want more than that, don't you?
I mean, maybe.
The IDW adventures are as impactful and advance the world as much as any of the games do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sonic Colors happened, and as much as it advanced the needle, it's okay, wisps are a thing now.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, the entire planet was shattered and put back together and unleashed, and that has not really come up in any meaningful way since. The IDW stuff introduces new characters and elements that, you know, hopefully we'll see implementation in other forms of media down the line. Hard to say because it's just started. Yes, we're 5 years in?
Yeah, thereabouts.
But for a franchise of this longevity and scope, 5 years is nothing. Come back to me in like the 20-year mark, and then we can assess how things have progressed on the whole.
Oh, it's almost 6 years, actually. But yeah.
I mean, if you are one of the super elite hardcore fans who want to map out every single bit of media and plot it on a line, that may not be satisfactory for you, and I can appreciate that. For the vast majority of folks who are just consuming the games and a couple of comics a month, not as much as a concern. And those of us who are involved with plotting that course are trying to be as mindful as we can with it, seeing where everything falls as they come about. But as the game releases come out retroactively, or come out and establish things retroactively, we just have to be mindful of what that means for the present day.
Mm-hmm.
So Superstars came out. Okay, that was the latest event during the classic era. And
yeah.
So now we know that North Star Island exists and Trip is a thing. Cool.
Heck yeah.
And if Trip that never shows up again, well, that's because I guess they never went back to it during the modern era. So it goes.
Bring Trip back, Ian. Do it. You have the power. Anyway. Here's one from Twilord. Twitter transphobes are claiming Shadow. I've seen a lot of trans folk relate to Shadow's identity struggle. So would you mind word of godding their no?
Number one, if you are trans and you are listening to this show, you are valid. Yes. I see you.
Yes.
You are not some woke fad. You've been around since the species has been. You live in a scary time.
Yep.
I'm very sorry for that. But you are real. You are valid. And if you are not sure of whether you are or not, you are equally valid. And I wish you all the best as you and your trained medical advisors assist you in figuring that out, and not the peanut gallery online. Number two, I cannot word of God another company's license. I can't do that. It's not professional, and it's not within my capacity to do so. But number three, in general, Sonic's world is a utopia. It is a place where people coexist happily. And it's only when you have the rare individuals who are absolute jerks, who try to impose their vision and uniformity upon everyone else, that you have trouble. So any kind of bigotry really does not fit the Sonic universe or any of its characters. I mean, for pity's sake, even Eggman is open to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, he actually thought to himself, I should probably ask Sage how she identifies before I pass any judgment. I mean, if Eggman can do that, for pity's sake, so can you. And four, trying to pick Shadow as the poster child for any kind of heteronormative worldview is asinine.
Yeah, pretty much.
He has two dads, one of which is an illegal alien, and he's not even their species.
My two dads.
His entire game is focused around him trying to identify who and what he is, and comes down to the singular identification, the affirmation of I am.
Yeah.
So I can't word of God it. No. But if you have anything remotely resembling media literacy, you wouldn't go down that path anyway.
You can't word of God it directly, but you can be like, look at this. You think it's the, yeah, well, whatever. Ah. Shadow's two dads. One's a giant alien lizard. Or no. The bio lizard is not Shadow's dad. Black Doom is, yes. Yeah.
Black Doom's not really a lizard. He's like a pile of mistakes.
Bio lizard is the Shadow gone horribly wrong. That's right. I can remember things sometimes, here and there, occasionally. All right, Way Past Ordinary has a question. This one is sponsored by Sam Cybercat. Hi, does it ever get a wee bit frustrating when people claim mischaracterization due to holding an outdated version as the correct portrayal of a character? It can, for just me sitting on the outside.
I do try to take all criticism within its own context. So I do try to measure everything within reason.
Windstar Osprey has the question. If you could pick a voice actor for Eclipse the Darkling, who would you choose? I'm partial to, believe it or not, Richard Steven Horvitz, Chaos from Skylanders, Moxie from Hell of a Boss, and the invader himself, Zim. The latter two are what sold it for me. P.S. Fellow Bumblebums, who do you think could have voiced the ultimate alien? Leave your idea in the comments.
Also, Daggett from Angry Beavers, and an absolute stellar performance. I can't hear him for Eclipse. I know Zim. Most of my experience with him is Zim and Daggett, and even then it's mostly Daggett. So that is coloring my perception to a degree. But even Zim has that degree of that kind of manic gremlin energy that he is so wonderfully adept at. And I don't feel like that's appropriate to Eclipse. Like, where Shadow is so reserved and restrained, Eclipse is more emotional, but not in that sort of way.
Yeah. And I can see it kind of working, but yeah.
See, I'm not 100%. I don't know his full range, so maybe he could do it. Like, maybe the voice with the proper inflection would work, but
yeah,
that one's not specifically working for me. If anything, I was thinking Liquid Snake when I was writing Eclipse.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Not necessarily that level of camp and ham, but the juxtaposition of the two, the very grim, gravelly Snake to Shadow versus the why can't we just be brothers Liquid Eclipse.
Yeah, I see it. That makes sense. And of course you would go with the Metal Gear Solid inspiration again. It's almost like you enjoy MGS or something. Everything is Metal Gear.
From a distance, I can't stand the games themselves. But
well,
I enjoy the presentation.
Yeah. It's a lot goofier than I anticipated it was originally.
Yeah, that's part of why I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
But in defense of that, it's not just, Metal Gear. It's actually taking the two characters and their dichotomy and boiling it down. Why is Liquid and Solid so entertaining?
Yeah.
What is it about their struggle in particular that is so engrossing? And it's because Solid is, within the context of the story, more grounded and gritty.
Yeah.
There's also a kind of naivete to him that Shadow absolutely doesn't have, but it's not a perfect one-to-one anyway. And Liquid is very grandiose and posturing and living in the moment. So when you have someone like Shadow, who again is very restrained, doing the exact opposite with someone who is very emotional with Eclipse is just what makes them fun.
Yep. When are you going to have Eggman say, nanomachine, Sonic?
Don't tempt me, Frodo.
Do it.
First, I need to have Shadow look off into this and go, it sounds like a hind D.
Damn it. All right, last question. It's from Sonic Heroes. Hi, BumbleKast. After the Great Harmony and Archie, we only see super transformations once when Enerjack and Supersonic use the Master Emerald, Genesis Waves notwithstanding. Seeing as how 5 of the 7 Chaos Emeralds were in the hands of different people in groups across Mobius, was Supersonic slated to reappear in the pre-Super Genesis Wave continuity? And if not, how would he have been able to appear? Would Sonic simply have to bargain with or steal from those who already had their hands on a Chaos Emerald, or would there be another way?
I do not immediately recall what the long-term pre-reboot plans were in terms of Supersonic, but it would have been with the Chaos Emeralds, presumably.
Mm-hmm.
And the story would have to revolve around them being in play and how they came together. In the far-off day where I finally get to do Lost Hedgehog Tales, I'll have to dig through all my old notes and see, oh yeah, that's what we were going to do. Or if that we hadn't even gotten that far. Oh, wait. Because we would have had to do it for the Unleashed adaptation.
Yeah.
And that
was
followed...
post. That was post reboot, though.
Well, no, that's the thing, is we were working towards Unleashed anyway.
Oh, okay.
And Unleashed was going to be after the resolution to the King Nagas arc.
Aha.
Because there was a direct bridge there. So it would have happened... Okay, so it would have happened during the Unleashed event. That they would have gone around to get the emeralds to restore the temples and followed the basic plot beats of the game. So that's how it would have gone. There you go.
Okay.
And then when we did the reboot and we were looking for a way to frame things to make it clear that we were more Sega Sonic and more accessible, but also being faithful to the feeling of the pre-reboot stuff, we went back to Unleashed and I was like, well, this is a fresh experience, more or less. It gives us a great reason to explore the world. There is a obvious peril that's easy to explain.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just do that. So it just happened to work out that way.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Well, that's it for this episode of the BumbleKast.
That was a beefy BumbleKast.
Indeed.
Like lettuce, tomato, and onion beefy.
Wow, amazing.
Now I want a burger.
Burger.
Yay, burger for dinner.
Thank you to everyone who contributed their questions and supported the show via patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Be good to yourselves. Please be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Take care, everybody. Poison fart frog. It's got those green clouds like The Sims.
And then we just got to break.
How many questions are there? All of them.
All of them.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. All right. Go get burgers for Leah. Go get Leah a burger.
I'm dieting again, Kyle. I can't do a burger.
You can do a burger, Ian. It's not that bad. Do a burger. She's not dieting.
No. I can get her a burger.
She wants a burger, Ian. Get the woman a burger.
You're not going to tell me how to burger my wife, okay? Not in front of these people.
No. No. Jesus.
You sorry for sassing me now? You learned your lesson?
No.
Good man.
I'll never learn. What do you think? I haven't learned.
That's why this show has longevity.
I haven't learned in the 9 years almost since we've been doing this. I ain't learned shit. We started in 2015, bro. I haven't
Fucking A.
I haven't learned a damn thing. Why would I start now?